Thanks for the introduction. A lot happened in the last year. So at Extensity, we want to take all the knowledge that we got from the PhD and also solve a couple of the pain points that we had during the PhD. So we're focusing on accelerating scientific discoveries with Neuro-Symbolic Agents. So actually that nicely ties a bit to the last talk. So also a bit in the direction of broad AI, but not on an industrial scale. But we picked a bit of a smaller, but not so well, or in some cases not so well-defined problem, where we want to help researchers with tasks that we often don't really want to do, but should do to the best of our knowledge, so that we can focus more on the parts that we're actually good at. That's the motivation why we picked this topic. One of the earliest reasons was that we, especially in our fields, there's in the recent years we face literature overload that's almost impossible to handle with several hundred new papers a day at the end. Which was not the case, unfortunately, when I started my PhD. But we also have more requirements as researchers that we really, even if it's tasks that we can to some degree automate, we really need to trust the results. So LLMs came up and they seemed like a good solution to some degree, but turns out they're not there yet. So we focused on the neuro-symbolic approach, where we have using machine learning methods where they're good at, and then do symbolic and symbolic checks to make sure that what we actually get is as correct as we can provide, so that we as the experts, we can do what we're good at, focus on hypotheses, on our experiments, on writing. If we're good at that, so that we can reduce the time to discovery in the end. So the overall approach is a transparent architecture, or an architecture that is as transparent as possible in our case. So of course we use LLMs because they're quite powerful and good in some cases. They can use tools that where they're appropriate, like search, for example. But then we also keep an external memory to make sure that we can always go back and reference stuff. And what we focus on is more the symbolic part, which are constraints and verification to make the outputs and the intermediate results and everything that can be checked should be checked, basically, is our philosophy. We also focus a lot on having all of this run on premise and have it as private as possible if it's required. If not, we have a hybrid architecture, so you can easily use local or remote models if you need to, and if you can afford the local models. And we try to collect as many artifacts as possible, so we don't just do internal checks, but everything that is checked is then also stored, so that you can always go back later and check it. So everything that we create internally, all the codes, citations, tables with intermediate results and everything is always there, so that it is checked, but can always be checked later as well. So that it's at the moment it's more of an assistive role, so that the researchers basically drive, and we try to do to support as much as possible. In the recent talk we already had this mentioned, the neuro-symbolic approach. And so probably have to speed up a bit. The neural networks can be LLMs and are to a large degree, obviously, but are not limited to that. So vision models, time series models can be very helpful in some cases. The symbolic part is then everything that basically comes afterwards or in between smaller operations with the neural models. We have such as theorem checkers, so rule-based systems, knowledge graphs for checking consistency, and so on. And then we have the agentic glue that runs and does all of this autonomously. So orchestration of agents that plan, that act out this plan with tools, with verifications, and so on. And the outputs are then verified. They're very explainable or interpretable, and not in the sense of explainable AI, but in that you have as many intermediate artifacts as you want. And we can composition or basically put these pieces together relatively flexible. So at the end, I can show or I can reference a project that's not directly related to research, but still uses a lot of the same principles. And how would such a workflow look like in practice, for example? So the researcher poses a specific research question. Our assistant then proposes several candidates internally. And at each step here is basically verified internally then. After the candidates are generated, we can then score them and present summaries, or you can always go in detail, basically, of all of these candidates. You get then a list of approaches, can select the best one for you, and then obviously edit whatever you don't like, accept, rerun, and we provide everything in the end, codes, queries, plots that have been generated, and so on. And just a very high-level list of what counts as a verifier. Basically, in the symbolic setting, we have theory improvers, we have rule engines, knowledge graphs for consistency checks. In the code space, we have unit tests, running the compiler, for example, fixing errors, and so on. We have cross-checks with, again, sometimes using knowledge graphs where it works, to check that whatever information has been retrieved is actually correct, that citations are citing what they claim, and so on. And when they get or when they are fast enough and applicable, simulations, in the simplest case, parameter sweeps, or at some point, domain simulations for material sciences or chemical interactions, and so on. So if you want to check out some of the case studies that we do, you can check out our blog. We also try to go out of our comfort zone and try this with topics we don't really have an idea about, and then let them check from external experts just to verify our results. And as I already mentioned before, we had a project that just recently has gone live with one of our partners, where the idea is to generate full books in the nonfiction domain. So books about yourself, about topics you're familiar with, for maybe a target audience that you didn't think of, or you want to publish it for children, for teenagers, and for experts, so you can easily adapt it. So you provide your information, we ask you a short questionnaire, and then you can have this book printed and at your doorstep within a couple days, or even published at Thalia or Amazon as well. So if you want to try it out, there's a discount code that's, I think, valid until Sunday, where you can generate your own book if you want to try it out. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thanks.
Questions? How far do I get with 1,000 credits?
It should be enough for a full book. So it's a two-step process. You basically provide your information that you have. You can even give it a YouTube link if you have a recording of a talk that you had, or just an audio file with a podcast where you were a part of, and we'll transcribe that for you. Then you get a first draft, which is basically the outline and some writing samples of a couple of chapters. We give you titles that you can choose from. We even write the author bio for you if you give us some information about you. And then if you're happy, I think that's about 200 credits. If you're happy, then you pays 600 for the full book. So you can also iterate a bit or use deep search, which can also find some additional details for you automatically. I think that's also a couple hundred credits, but I don't know how much exactly.
And when writing a book using this tool, how is it with the copyright? Are you then a co-author of it, or have some equity or so? Or?
You have, so the information you provide must be something that you're actually, you have the rights to. So just doing it with some random book or podcast that you find that that's on you. So you have to basically tick a checkbox. Yes, I'm allowed to. That this is mine. And then it's actually, you're not a co-author because you can always go back in. You have a full editor. You can always change whatever you want. So if you sign off, then it's basically written by you. I think there's a small note somewhere that it's supported by AI, but this is still your book then in the end.
I think we need to move on. So let's thank Markus again.